Dude, the American political, oh my God. American politics is so Joe Biden with his like wishy-washy bullshit, unconditional support to Israel functionally, but sometimes being critical of Israel on other fronts and also not being like an avowed fascist like Trump has caused this instability that is making every American despise him. That's why Trump's potential hypothetical handling of Israel has better approval ratings than Joe Biden's current handling of Israel-Palestine. The reason for that is because people don't know, because people are stupid and they don't recognize that Trump would be just as bad, if not worse. But god damn it, is Joe doing his very best to make everybody recognize that he is not the man for the job. Would you ever make an appearance to a protest to speak? I have made an appearance at the UCLA encampment. Trump will be vocal and one-sided on Israel. Joe, on the other hand, is trying to appease both sides, and therefore everybody ends up not liking him. But he's like doing a bad job with this appeasement of both sides anyway. They deployed a whole police force on students, asking their university to stop funding rockets to these people. Israeli settlers attacked humanitarian aid trucks on the way to Gaza Strip last night. Nice. Guys, it's fake. It's fake news. Israel would never do such things. Just a couple bad actors. Bad apples don't spoil the bunch. What are your thoughts on this? Students are frustrated with the UAW. Rank and file Irvine. It is not lost on us that the union elections open tomorrow. For folks that are members and participating, we urge you to vote for the folks who didn't wait until students were beaten, pepper sprayed, or had fireworks launched them to act. Rads across the UC have strategized for a wildcat since October. We were never counting on your authority to withhold our labor from genocidal employees. You're very late to the game, UAW 4811. I think what's important here is that even if slow, it's good that they show up. Another Boeing whistleblower has mysteriously died. Dude, I don't think you understand. Whistleblowers do that when they're under extreme distress. It's just like a thing that they do. LA Times got another good headline. 4 UCLA student journalists attacked by pro-Israeli counter-protesters on campus. That's good. What are your thoughts on this, man? Oh yeah, I talked about this yesterday. The cop being like, we thought we shot someone. Look at the Rolling Stone article. Rolling Stone still does a pretty solid job of reporting shit. I swear to God, it's like one of the last bastions of like decent reporting. A large group of pro-Israel protesters attacked students at Gaza Solidarity Encampment established at UCLA late Tuesday night. We are sickened by the senseless violence, and it must end. The Gestapo are heading down. You want to bet your ass they're not heading down there to defend the student protesters, I suspect. Happening now at UCLA. Students, holy shit.
All right, everyone. So for the folks in the front, we're going to have a system. We're going to do red, yellow, green system. For the folks in the red, if you are comfortable with potentially being arrested for being in protest and protecting folks upstairs, can you come up to the front of this, the stairway? If you're not comfortable with that, feel free to move towards the back. We're going to put you in the green zone. And then for folks who may be comfortable with that, you can go in the middle. So we'll start with the folks at the top, at the front. If you are comfortable with the potential of being arrested, please make.
Does anyone have another person like filming on the campus or no? All right, now the SWAT and LRADs are headed towards UCLA. This is Ohio State, chatter. Enormous LASD presence in front of pro-Palestinian student protesters. Pro-Palestinian protesters gather in front of the Gaza Solidarity Encampment to speak about the violent attack they endured last night at the hands of pro-Israel agitators. Huge Los Angeles Sheriff's Department presence. Crowd slowly growing as pro-Palestinian protesters recount last night's violent assault by pro-Israel mob. Huge amount of donations coming to UCLA's Gaza Solidarity Encampment after last night's attack. Hundreds of UCLA students are forming a barrier in front of the Gaza Solidarity Encampment in an effort to block law enforcement from entering the space. Known Zionist provocateur Elite Civez has brought pepper spray to the pro-Palestinian student protest just one day after a pro-Israeli mob violently attacked the encampment. Notice how little girlfriend that he brought with him is wearing a fucking IDF t-shirt as well.
Peacefully protesting.
But hey, I thought this guy was always being blocked, dude. I thought he was being blocked from entering campus. I thought he was being blocked from going to school. That's what CNN's Dana Fash told me. CNN's very own Dana Fash lied to me. Hundreds of pro-Palestinian students begin chanting while guarding the Gaza Solidarity encampment from counter-protesters and law enforcement. This is 18 minutes ago. I don't know if I want to watch this coverage. UAW 4811 is out there as well. Chat, you can't send me a fucking dude who says Hamas encampment. Zionist counter-protester Elite Civez retreats from encampment after promising to be back soon. Can you explain how the universities profit off the genocide? Universities are basically gay hedge funds at this point. Okay, they have massive endowments that they collect tuition and they create these massive endowments, and then they fund a whole bunch of different corporations. And normally, under every single circumstance, what you could do is go to your fucking hedge fund that you're funding and say, hey, I don't want you to invest in like fossil fuels, for example. I think fossil fuels are destroying the planet, and BlackRock, I believe, calls these like ESG initiatives are very popular. It's a perfectly valid, perfectly reasonable demand to tell your university that you don't want your tuition dollars going directly to funding and facilitating the Israeli apartheid and the Israeli genocide. Now, what does this mean? There's a shit ton of companies that work in very meaningful ways alongside the Israeli government. The purpose of these kinds of protest movements is to basically make that costly, is to apply political pressure. This is actually a very successful method originally developed in the apartheid regime of South Africa, against the apartheid South Africa in the 80s, where boycotts, divestments, and sanctions against the South African government and corporations that work with the South African government was initiated also on college campuses, and it worked. Now, of course, Israel was a big ally to South Africa at the time. They were funding and facilitating their apartheid regime, partially because they also have their very own apartheid regime at the time, and they learned from the mistakes of South Africa and obviously developed much stronger relationships with American corporations and American politicians in general, and did a steady lobbying effort, a steady propaganda effort, and we are living in that future now. We're seeing the outcome of that effort and how successful it's been over the course of the past couple of decades. There's a reason why in a country where we are supposed to have freedom of speech and freedom to express ourselves without scrutiny or fear by the state, without the state actually suppressing our free speech, fundamental American principle enshrined in the Constitution, in 35 states in the United States of America, specifically red states as a matter of fact, we have anti-BDS laws specifically against criticizing Israel. In a place like Texas, for example, you can't be a public school teacher unless you sign a piece of paper that says that you swear that you will never boycott or advocate to divest or advocate to put sanctions on the the state of Israel. Now that sounds fucking insane, but that's unfortunately the reality. Why are these laws in existence? Well, that's because AIPAC, the Israeli lobby that is funded largely by not American Jews, but American Christians, as a matter of fact, evangelical Zionists, writes these kinds of laws. Now, we have no other example of such severe restrictions, and it's not just AIPAC. There's many other, there are many other lobbying organizations as well. AIPAC is simply the one that is the most prominent and the one that wrote the anti-BDS legislation. That's why I mentioned AIPAC by name. You actually can't work in any city entity in Texas unless you sign documents saying you will not boycott Israel. Think about that. Think about that. HasanAbi waiting room is at UCLA. That's my goat right there. That's Mr. Waiting Room to you. UCLA on violence, dark chapter.
To decide and announce they will not divest. UCLA and the UC system has said that they will not do that. We have seen other universities, Brown University and Northwestern University, those universities have been able to come to some kind of preliminary agreements with the protesters to cool some of the tensions. We have not seen that happen here. I interviewed one student, though, earlier this week, who said that they're taking a page from past protests, like Vietnam War, South Africa apartheid, and they said in the 80s, students came and asked UC to divest from South Africa apartheid, and they did, and they were successful, and they're taking a page from that.
And to be very clear, the students here, the demonstrators, have been saying that's what we're seeing happen in Gaza. They say that they are seeing apartheid, and that is what has brought them out here to protest.
Exactly. So there are these parallels, and in many ways, we were talking to an expert today who said a lot of students might see themselves as a part of history, like Vietnam War protests, the South Africa apartheid protests, these protests, that's sort of the vein in which they're seeing themselves and modeling themselves here.
And yet all of those protests had violence, right? There was some degree of civil resistance, and there was some degree of violence. Do you think, given what we saw last night at Columbia, how police came out in overwhelming force and were able to make arrests, do you think that we will see violence here tonight, or is there a possibility that somehow everything will work out?
I don't see how there's not some kind of confrontation if they are indeed going to come in and disband. These students say they're going to fight. They're not going to back down. We saw them with helmets on, some of them back there. They're fortifying this area. They are prepared to fight. I do not see how this just ends in any kind of peaceful, easy way.
And do you think that given what we've seen today, what we've seen on social media, there's a chance that people from the outside will come in real quick?
I think it's hard to say.
That's the top of the hour bell ringing for those who are unsubscribed.
Tonight, breaking news, the NYPD called into another New York City university as campuses crack down on student protesters. This video just in, officers in riot gear outside Fordham University next to Manhattan's Lincoln Center. Students have barricaded themselves inside a building there less than 24 hours before a massive police presence at Columbia University about 3 miles away. Armed officers in tactical gear climbing through windows to take back a campus building occupied by pro-Palestinian demonstrators. In Manhattan alone, hundreds of protesters arrested across multiple schools. A student journalist who was at Columbia and documented the chaos as it unfolded joins Top Story Live. Some protests taking a violent turn at UCLA, mass counter-protesters attacking an encampment, setting off fireworks, throwing barricades, and using pepper spray. At the University of Southern Florida, police firing off tear gas there against protesters, and dramatic images out of Gaza. People there expressing gratitude for the demonstrations back in the U.S. Though the college semester is coming to an end, these protests seem to be picking up steam. But have they lost the message along the way? We'll speak to one Columbia student who has been covering the situation on his own campus. But first, NBC's Aaron McLaughlin starts off our coverage tonight.
Tonight, police crackdowns continue on college campuses across the country. At the University of Wisconsin-Madison, clashes. 4 officers injured and dozens of pro-Palestinian protesters arrested.
We plan to be here until our demands are met, no matter what.
While Jewish students say they also want their voices heard.
But we just wanted to show that we're here and that we're not scared.
At the University of Texas, Dallas, tents taken down. Meanwhile, Columbia University...
Okay, dude.
Palestine. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river, Palestine will live forever. Palestine will live forever. Palestine forever.
Yeah, the framing is always it's always Jewish students, not Zionist students, as though there aren't fucking Jewish students and rabbis and Jewish teachers that are literally right there in this crowd. The framing of it is always so fucking insidious. It's so lame. Did you hear XQC's take? No. Knowing XQC, it's probably hard to decipher, but it's either one of the best fucking things you've ever heard, super insightful, or the absolute worst. Nothing in between.
We stay together, and we stay here in the steps. We stay together, we stay strong, and we take care of each other.
The suspicion is that the sweep will begin later. Like they'll probably try to wait till the numbers thin out, offer a false sense of security to the students, and only after that will they turn around and initiate the sweep. You get more overtime that way. You get the cover of nightfall when it's dark, harder to see all of the awful shit that you're doing. You get to wait out some of the students who will leave.
These people do not look like, look at them, dude. Look at these fucking pig. The f you. What gang are you in, bro? What gang you guys in? Show me some tats. What do you got, banditos? You look like a caveman, actually. You guys cavemen? You guys cavemen or what? F you. No, why would I be nice to deputy gang members? You. They're not doing anything, just like last night when the fascist mob fucking brutalized everybody here. I think you should fuck off. Who are you here? Defending a bunch of goons with guns? Real big man here, bro. You can go fuck yourself. Eat shit and choke on it, please. Yo, this kid's a fascist right here in the blue polo.
Oh, it's the fucking... It's the guy.
Dangerous individual. Actually dangerous. I recognize that fucker.
Listen, Brett's a little bit too much of an anarchist for his own good, all right? It's just... He does get in his own way sometimes. He means very well, though.
In the encampment, we're going to be fighting from the outside for those in the encampment. The first person is a student here at UCLA. B was a student for socialism. Please welcome B. Oh, yes.
Wait, I'm hearing. I just got news that they didn't issue a dispersal.
Predictably, understandably, of course, police violence and police presence and Zionist counter-protesters physically assaulting the peaceful pro-Palestinian demonstrations have only led to an increased amount of attention, an increased amount of eyeballs, and way more students showing up. Because of course it would. All you do in this circumstance, when you react like a fucking animal is galvanize more people to participate. People that are on the edges, you slowly chip away at their lack of interest. You force them to reckon with their actions, with their behavior. You inevitably cause them to take action. Would you consider the police inevitably going in and violently breaking up the pro-Palestine protests and endorsement, albeit indirect, of the violence that happened last night? Do you think it will also give carte blanche to more violent counter-protesters nationwide and show them they can get away with it? Yes, that is what I was saying yesterday, and that is precisely what will happen, and that's precisely what the college is endorsing. That like random assholes that don't even fucking go there can just come to your college, come to our college campuses, beat the shit out of our students, and we will literally not protect them. And as a matter of fact, we will turn around and cave to their demands that the protests end.
Should we try to get closer?
They were spinning their cares notifications. Yeah, they want.
Yo, who just sent me $250 on PayPal, bro? What?
They look pretty safe to me. Really? They look pretty safe right now. Free speech and whatnot. Yeah, they are safe. Just wait a couple hours, see if they're still so safe. The reality is that they're safe because they're demonstrating. But the moment that cops actually come into the fray, they are no longer safe. The presence of police is never the presence of safety.
So there was no dispersal?
There is. They did the announcement in Voice Hall.
Did you guys see the telegram?
What?
There's a telegram message.
I'm not on Telegram, but they did call for the dispersal.
Okay, hold on.
My dad called me.
Guys, I think this guy's a Hasan fan. Brother, that's my cameraman, dude. What do you mean? That's Brett. It's sin and Marxism.
If images of police and can tell me where on the campus they are.
He's yellow.
Just the police on the highway. Oh, interesting. We don't know where they're gonna come from, so. But please move slow, so hopefully I can be on the line and document it for you all. So essentially, again, I'll recap what's going on right now. There's some confusion going around about the dispersal order. So about 20 to 30 minutes ago, a bunch of people came through the camp and said that they gave a dispersal order. Then about 10 minutes ago, I got a Telegram message from the group Telegram that said there was no dispersal order given. About 2 hours ago, there was a negotiation with the chancellor, vice chancellor, that I think you guys saw on my stream. During that negotiation, he said the camp will be cleared tonight. And then he left. So that is the situation right now. Yeah, he said peace. Yeah, I would love some water. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's kind of pointless.
You can see up here, this is what we've been doing all day. When I've not been live, I've been drilling these boards, both at the front and the back, to protect the encampment. As far as I know, the students have every intention of defending the encampment.
The thing is, for people wondering if does this movement have the capacity to grow as large as BLM? Yes and no. I think that the repercussions for criticizing Israel are far greater than the repercussions for saying you have to stop police brutality against black people. For as calcified as police brutality is, like, even racist people kind of understand that it's like a permissible thing to state. You know what I mean? Whereas for many, many years, I feel like a couple of reasons. One, BLM is a domestic issue, whereas this is a foreign policy issue, and America does not around when it comes to foreign policy issues. When it comes to foreign policy, America's like, yeah, no, my way or the highway, shut the up. Historically, every protest movement that has criticized America's foreign policy has been met with this level of police violence and suppression. UCLA police just declared on a loudspeaker that the UCLA encampment is unlawful and everyone must leave the area. They say those that do not leave may be subject to arrest. So it was exactly at 6 p.m. Pacific. I thought the pro-Palestinian LA protests were bigger than the BLM ones? No.
بنبسط كتير لما نشوف طلاب أمريكا واقفين معانا وحاسين فينا وجينا نشكركم بطريقتنا البسيطة بتمنى تستقبلوها بحب.
شكرا كولومبيا، شكرا أوروي، شكرا سينسفو، شكرا بلاشن، شكرا ين، شكرا UCLA، شكرا Students for Justice in Palestine.
That's wonderful. It is pretty crazy to consider that like our tax dollars, our tuition goes to companies that literally fucking build bombs that kill those children, that kill those children's parents, that blow up those kids' schools. And even in the midst of all of that, even in the midst of all that death and destruction and violence that is every moment in their lives, they're like, they see it.